Guinea Bissau and, monitoring these elections?
Thank you so much. Since I left office, I've always been scared talking to the media. But in this particular case, I decided to speak to the media. First and foremost, to thank Nigerians for the show of empathy, the encouragement, because while we were in Bissau and this so-called coup happened, the information we got was that the whole country was agitated, young and old, irrespective of religious divides or political divides. And I sincerely appreciate Nigerians, and I want them to hear directly from my mouth to appreciate their concern. And secondly, to thank my president, President Tinubu, and the Ivorian president, President Ouattara. Both presidents were to send aircraft to lift us, but somehow, Côte d'Ivoire is closer to Guinea Bissau, and there's always some relationship between Francophone countries and the Lusophones among the Francophones. They were able to penetrate their system to get landing permit first before Nigeria could do that. So the Ivorian aircraft was already on their way to pick us. So when we learned about the Nigerian aircraft about leaving, we asked them not to bother. That is why if you see the picture that was brought by an Ivorian aircraft. So we thank the two presidents, President Ouattara, President Tinubu, and indeed thank Nigerians, young and old, for that. And specifically, what happened in Guinea Bissau, I wouldn't call it a coup. It was not a coup. Maybe some people will describe it as no, not quite. RNG? I would just say, if it is like, for want of better word, I would say maybe it was a ceremonial coup. Because for two things, it is the president, President Barrow, that announced the coup. Before later, the military man came up to address the world that they were in charge of everywhere. Then Mbalo has already announced the coup, which is strange. Not only announcing the coup, but Mbalo, while the coup took place, was using his phone and addressing media organizations across the world that he has been arrested. I'm a Nigerian close to 70, and I know how they keep heads of state when the coup takes place. Recently, I was a mediator in Mali, an ECOWAS mediator in Mali, and within that period, we had a military coup. Military don't take over governments, and the sitting president that they overthrown will be allowed to be addressing press conferences and announcing that he has been arrested. Why does this happen? Who is fooling who? Basically, what happened in Guinea-Bissau is quite disturbing to me, who believes in democracy. In fact, I feel more pained than the day I called Buhari to congratulate him when I lost the election as a sitting president. Because I've been quite particular about Guinea-Bissau. As a sitting president, then, Guinea-Bissau was in crisis. Started by about 2012. By 2011, we have to go physically. We worked with them and made sure that by 2014, we went 2013, elections were conducted. In fact, it was so bad the day that I learned that the military man went to the office of the prime minister and slapped the prime minister in the office. It was that bad. And what is happening is like we are going back to those dark days of Guinea-Bissau, where the military can do whatever they think they can do. It's totally not acceptable. The elections were done peacefully. We were in the field. I was a part of the West African Elders Forum. Normally, we are not co-observers, so we didn't deploy observation teams across, but we observed within Bissau, the capital, and the neighboring settlements. But during the meeting of all heads of observation missions, and they gave accounts of all the observers gave their account. Nobody gave something different. The elections were peaceful. Counting of results at the polling units peacefully done. The conduct of the electoral officials, the security, the party agents, the voters. It was a good election, and one expected the results to be announced. Then while they were collating the results, then they are finished collating results. You know, results for presidential elections are collated at different levels.
That's right.
The 9 regions, results were ready. So they were collating them at the capital. And when they were almost through, and were all waiting for the result to be announced, then Mbello announced that that's a coup. That they have taken over, they have arrested him. But from all indications, nobody arrested him. My conviction is that, and my charge to ECOWAS and AU is that they must announce their results. They have the results because AU and ECOWAS officials were at all the regions when the results were collated. They cannot change those results. They should tally all those results and announce. They cannot force the military out, but they must announce, let the world know who won that election. Let the world know who won that election. And they owe the world that responsibility. Similar thing happened in Cote d'Ivoire when I was the chair of the Authority of Heads of State and Government of ECOWAS. When in 2010 we had elections in Cote d'Ivoire, Gbagbo was the sitting president. At the first round, Gbagbo got 40-something% of the votes. Ouattara got 30-something% of the votes. And their law, you must get 50% of the votes plus 1 at least. Democracy is about majority. You must get a simple majority to be the president. So they have to go for a second round. And when they went for the second round, all those other candidates that lost now supported Ouattara. And Ouattara now got more votes than Gbagbo. And Gbagbo said he was not going, that he won the election. How can somebody who had something now come and defeat him? But that is a law. Then all the observers, international communities say Ouattara won the election. Then we ECOWAS said, well, you're our colleague, but you have to go. If the observers, everybody say, Ouattara won the election, Ouattara must be sworn in as the president of Cote d'Ivoire. I stood my ground as the chair of the Authority of Heads of State and Government of ECOWAS, and Ouattara was sworn in. So, the leadership of ECOWAS, luckily, Madabio was a former military man himself, so he should be courageous. The leadership of AU, they must be courageous. They must announce who won that election. I'm not saying they should mobilize soldiers to go and fight. No need to shed blood, but we must know. Because the results are there. They have the results. The AU, ECOWAS, they have the results. So we cannot be playing pranks. Nobody should call others fools. There's no way they remove a military coup. Military coup at the time they want to announce the result. How? And the president was the person who announced the coup. It doesn't happen anywhere. Well, you people are too young, so you didn't know what used to happen in Nigeria. We're a country that witnessed a series of coups before. So it doesn't happen.
Well, Your Excellency, speaking about ECOWAS, as of this morning, there was an update that ECOWAS leaders have suspended Guinea Bissau from decision-making bodies. What comments do you have towards that?
No, that's traditional. Because ECOWAS, though, if you follow the history of ECOWAS started when a number of West African countries had military leaders. But later on, when leaders now see that for your economy, ECOWAS is economic community, the emphasis was the economy. But for you to develop your economy, you must be politically stable. So protocols were changed, and we agree that in ECOWAS, we must not go back to military rule. We must not go back to military dictatorship. We must embrace democracy. And since the change of protocols, if any country, a military takeover, that country is suspended. It's normally, it's natural. So we expect that, and they knew it was going to happen. So it's not strange.
So, Your Excellency, as we speak now, 4 countries within the West African bloc, 3 have already...
Don't worry yourself. Even if 5 countries remain in ECOWAS, so be it. It's costly to do the right thing. But ECOWAS must not bother. If Guinea Bissau want to join the military camp, they should. They should. Even if 5 countries are committed to remain in ECOWAS and develop ECOWAS, the only thing is that they must modify the protocols or create some other protocols to make sure that ECOWAS do things that will endear them to the citizens, things that young people will benefit, things that business class will benefit, things that students will benefit. Let ECOWAS be attractive to citizens of the community, not just talking about political issues. When ECOWAS continue to do those things, these countries, they will come back to join ECOWAS. The military, it will not be forever. You carry gun today, took over government, with time, society will be tired of you and will ask you to go. It will not take more than 10 years for all these countries to go back to civil rule, and they will join ECOWAS. So for now, even if only 5 countries out of the 15 are ready to carry on with the ECOWAS, they should. Look, we should not bother about that and begin to change their position. ECOWAS must stand firm. We cannot accept military in ECOWAS.
So you sound, even from the words, that we can feel the pain, because you are someone who believes constitutional democracy must reign. But the persons concerned in this, because you have also shared that your strong feeling is that this coup was engineered by President Mbello himself, a former military officer. The question, sir, is this. For someone who chaired ECOWAS, talking about President Mbello, how do some of you who also chair the same body?
That is the most painful thing. President Mbello, just yesterday, was the chair of the authority of heads of state and government of ECOWAS. One will expect him, as the president of Guinea Bissau, to do his best. Luckily, he's an ex-military man. So he has a military constituency. He was a very senior military man before retiring. So he has his own friends, boys, and so on. He should be the person that can prevent any coup in Guinea-Bissau. I don't expect a coup that will remove him from office. In any case, the election, immediately they announced, for them, immediately the results are announced. They inaugurate the new president the following day, so his tenure was almost over. But I don't expect him to be as the president of Guinea-Bissau, a retired senior military man, and they organize coup against him. I don't expect. I don't.
So speaking about President Mbalo, what would you advise him and the political class of Guinea-Bissau at this moment?
Well, I know what the political class will do. I don't even need to advise, because the political class will want those results to be announced. The political class will want the results of the election to be announced. Nobody should take citizens of a country for a ride. People did not go to work. People wasted their time, queued up, voted, and when they are about to announce the results, then you come as soldiers and you scuttle the results. So the political class will never accept that. For the military, I'll plead with them not to take Guinea-Bissau back to the dark days of 2011 to 2014. Because I was the chair of the ECOWAS Authority of Heads of State and Government, and I was involved. Most of them acknowledged it anyway when they saw me. They say, we know what you did for us. We know what you did for us. They know what Nigeria did to stabilize the country.
As we speak,
so it's painful to say. So that's what I'm saying, that Mbello knows everything. The president knows everything. So it's painful for him to be the president of Guinea-Bissau and say military people are taking over government.
Your Excellency,
it's totally not accepted.
Your Excellency, you are now back in Nigeria, haven't seen what occurred there. The main opposition leader, Fernando Diaz, is still in custody. What's your message?
They have to release the man. The man has not committed any offense. They just have to release the man. And the international community must talk to the military to release the man. The man has not committed any offense. The man has not even declared himself president as to say, oh, we have taken over government and you have declared yourself, so it's treason. No. The man has not committed any offense. There's no reason to restrict the man at all. They should allow the man to be free. And we advise the military in Guinea-Bissau not to take Guinea-Bissau backwards. When I was in Guinea-Bissau 2012, and just came back from Guinea-Bissau yesterday, there's significant development going on. The capital is taking shape. And we believe that with that, the country will take shape. So the military should not take us backward to the dark days of 2011 to 2014.
And finally, Your Excellency, how soon do you expect a return to constitutional government?
Nobody can say. Nobody can say. But I believe if ECOWAS, supported by AU, are firm, yes, they may not, because after all, Burkina Faso has not returned, Niger has not returned, Mali not returned. Well, Guinea is returning in December. The military heads, London, the military head is contesting, so we know who will win the election. So, but at least we can, some kind of pseudo-democracy, which is better than for military commission. But at least Guinea is making an effort to return. So you can't say, nobody can say exactly. But even if they will stay on, first they must release another Diaz who has not committed any offense. Second, the results must be announced. Let the world know who won the results. And, okay, this man won the result, but the military overthrew him. That's the better story than to tell me that they organized a coup to remove Mbele. Mbele was leaving government. I mean, Mbele was to leave government today. So what kind of a coup to remove